Wuxi REM and former CEO of CIS Stanlok-REM in Worcester. He brings with him a background of experience in manufacturing, consulting, and investing. Perhaps just as important to us here at WPI, he developed the foundation for the WPI BS degree in mechanical engineering. After Mr. Barry does speak, we'll have some time for questions.
I promise I'll keep it short, no reference to Ron. I'm not very tall myself. And I'll keep it entertaining, and I'll get you to your coffee break. So, tell me now, Jen, how much time do I have? I'll keep it short. I'm not used to being confined like this. I'm a little more animated, so. But maybe you did this on purpose. I'm going to talk to you about two journeys. We talked about some bigger businesses, and then Pete just talked about the smaller business. I'm going to go smaller yet. In combination now, probably like about 35 people. But I'll talk about my first journey to the Middle Kingdom. I was asked to run a company that was structurally bankrupt. Okay, so that's always something about me. If I'm coming to your company, it's in trouble. And go along with me, and we'll get along fine, and you'll have your job. Disagree with me, and I'll replace you real quick because we're in trouble. And you didn't believe me the first time when I told you we were in trouble. So I was helping out a company in Dallas, Texas. And oops, I probably have my glasses. And I live in Atlanta. So that was a problem already. I'm in Dallas working with a company. We have maybe 700 people there. We have 12 people in China, 30 in Singapore, a couple of dozen in Glasgow. And we were in forbearance with our lenders. We were about $100 million in revenue. And I went around and met all our customers, and they told me they're going to stop buying everything from China. And do you have an operation there? I said, well, of course we do. Of course we're in China. You know, didn't tell them it was only 12 people. And so then I got on a plane and started going to China, and then that turned into an every month thing. And just to give you a feel for what we made is we made a lot of rack mounting hardware. So we made mechanical devices to mount servers and storage units in the rack. You can kind of see the rack in the upper corner there. So when you bought your servers, you had a data room and you bought 20 new servers from Dell or HP. The servers came in, and maybe Hanhai Precision Foxconn maybe assembled them or something in China, and they came in an HP box, and then all the mounting hardware came in an HP box, but I made it. Or I bought components, made some of the components, and made it. And part of the reason we were in trouble is because we were competing with that company that had 500,000 employees in the Shenzhen area. And so what I was faced with was an American company with a center of gravity in America, using ostensibly American companies who are now shifting all of their new programs and products to Asia, predominantly China. Wanted us to continue to supply them, but it had to more or less be at the China price. Some would actually have allowed us to keep making them in America at the China price. That would have been okay. But most actually expected you to be there in China. And the thought was that at some point we would be supplying hardware to other customers in China, and completed sets would go back to the States. So eventually we needed to be there for supply chain purposes. So the short story is, in a little over 5 years, we went from 12 people in China to about 2,200. We went from 600 plus people in the U.S. down to about 250. We actually went down to 1.25, and then grew it back up to 250, serving some different markets with some different products. We opened 6 facilities. We turned our Singapore organization into a design organization. I had this great brainstorm one night. I said, gee, they speak Mandarin, and my people in China speak Mandarin, and so maybe they'll do a better job of working on the projects, and hiring a bunch of project engineers in America and sending them off to China, and the first thing they want to do is go see the Great Wall and then go to a disco in Shanghai. So I didn't have the money to do that. Again, the company ended up with our own product linear bearing slides, and today you can check their website, CIS Worldwide, and they've got a ball slide product brand. And something that used to be the top commodity that we purchased is now the top commodity that we manufacture, and we manufacture in China, design in Singapore and in America. And I would argue we're truly more of a global company, not a replication of an American company in China. And my definition of that global company, if you could really think out of the box, you'd say, well, if you're selling a lot in the West, your marketing is in the West. If you're designing and you need to communicate a lot in English and you're worried about intellectual property protection, well, then maybe you're doing something in Singapore and something in China, but you're not maybe doing it all in one location. And if you're taking advantage of low-cost manufacturing opportunities, you're manufacturing in China, you're manufacturing in India, or you're manufacturing where it's low cost, and you either need to be close to your market or you can export back to it, and you don't replicate. You don't say, well, gee, in my China organization, let me set up a marketing organization like my America. In America, let me set up cost accounting. Well, the heck with that. I've got my cost accounting next to my factories in China. And I've got my designers in Singapore, so why do I need a whole bunch of designers again in America to work with my designers in Singapore? So let me take those functions and those pieces of my business and put them where they are in the world and have one company, but not necessarily a replication in all of the parts of the world. Part of what gave me that great idea was I didn't have any money. As I told in the beginning, the company was virtually bankrupt. It's amazing how creative you are when nobody will lend you any money. Everybody will meet with you every 90 days and offer various reasons why they need to close you. And then you have to come up with lots of reasons why, no, hey, I got a good idea and I actually made a little bit of money last month for you. So that was my first journey, my big journey, my multi-year journey and experience in China. And for many of the reasons that the people have told you about today, that it's good to be there, it's good to sell there, it's good to manufacture there, it's good to develop and grow from low-cost manufacturing to all the way up to product development. I support all that and rubber stamp all that and agree with it completely. Now I'll take my second journey, and you can see that the plane's smaller. I'm traveling economy now, so I'm up in the upper left-hand corner, and what I'm doing is working with a small family business, my family, here in the Worcester area, and they make special fasteners, and really the key things are in special machine-type pins, a lot of it going into aerospace, and what we would just call special nuts. Anything that you can buy, that any of you can go out today and buy somewhere, we don't make that. Okay? What we make is somebody's designed a machine, a product, and due to space constraints or corrosion or whatever the reason is, they need something with this thread, it needs to have this strength, it needs to fit here, and they don't need a million of them. They don't need a container load of them. They don't need a set of freighter ships coming across the ocean every month, but they sure do need 2,000 of them, and they want them tomorrow, and they're willing to pay me $3 a nut when you can go buy thousands of nuts for $3 down at some hardware store somewhere. So it's that kind of specialty item that we're making. Now, since we make that kind of specialty item, we always get asked, and we're always asked to quote on the inexpensive item, the ones you make by the millions. But what we do in Worcester is more machining, and you can almost think of it more as like prototyping and very low volume manufacturing, both the automatic bar machining and CNC machining, and lots of secondary operations, lots of specialty materials, specialty threads, specialty gauging, unusual strength requirements, a lot of engineering. So we'll call it engineered fasteners. Now what we're doing in Wuxi in the Jiangsu province, a couple hours outside of Shanghai, is we're doing some of the same machining, but we're not doing aerospace. We can't serve the military there or the aerospace industry from there at this point. But what we're doing is more of a specialized commercial fastener, a specialized industrial fastener. Again, an engineered product, and it'd be a little bit more cold forming because we might be doing some products that are 100,000 in quantity instead of 1,000 in quantity. And so, where the heck is Wuxi or Wuxi? Well, you can see it a little bit on the map there from Shanghai to Suzhou to Wuxi. Changzhou's in there, and then we get to Nanjing. And I think Rick's facility talked about it a bit today. It was in Changzhou, and we're again quite a bit north of the Guangzhou area, Guangdong area. And great planning, great business decisions, great mind. Why are you Wuxi? Well, if you remembered my first journey, I was in Wuxi, so that's why I'm in Wuxi. So it didn't take a lot of planning there. I knew the lay of the land, knew some people, and so started up there. So again, the thing that we're trying to do now is focus the local business here on aerospace, and really just not do any type of specialty industrial type of product, unless it requires perhaps an aerospace alloy, something to keep us aerospace focused. And then again, a little bit more high volume, but still engineered product. And at this point, we're using the Wuxi factory to export back to the States. We're not, at this point, attempting to sell into the local market. So that's quite a bit different than what he was talking about. I was interested in his story. And so next steps, talk to me in another year. Okay, and I'll tell you how we're doing, how that's progressing. Email me. I'm happy to share ideas. I'm opinionated. That's maybe good or bad. But if you're looking for a raw view of something, I'm happy to give you my opinion on that. And usually where I go, I make money. So if I'm not back here next year, I didn't make any money. But ask me back, and I'll give you an update. How was that? Time.